The roads are long and narrow. Even through the forests, Saskatchewan highways refuse to wind. One might think, if they were looking at this from an outsider perspective, and thinking that an analogy could be drawn between the landscape and the people who choose to populate it, that these wide open spaces would create a new breed of thinkers. Perhaps it has. Measure twice, cut once. Road and land, perfectly planned, surveyed with rigid democracy. In a grid of equal measures, it suffers few interruptions. You could drive really fast on these highways. Sometimes we do. Usually we don't. It wouldn't be entirely inaccurate to say there's a slower pace. The bigger cities appear to have more pressure, more stress, more demands on the individual. Regina is a city, not a big one. Big enough to have at least one of most things, and small enough that if you have a car, and everyone needs to have a car, you can get between any 2 points in less than 15 minutes. That's where the real difference is. Time. It's not that we live slower. We just don't need to live faster. Jobs and relationships are not much different between Regina and, say, Toronto. But if one needs to spend 2 or 3 or 4 hours every day in transit, it's that many hours less to spend relaxing or lounging or chasing a dream. Unless your dream is to sit on a subway or drive around on clogged up expressways. That extra time in a smaller city, admittedly, goes unnoticed. Do we take these hundreds of hours per year and turn our cities into creative or scientific or social utopias? No. The extra time is just naturally consumed into the routine of life. We find new things that will stress us, that will exhaust us, or that will drive us to despair. Can we really say that we live in the 21st century without the shroud of fear hanging over us? Terrorists and serial killers, once the stuff of legends, are now more than real. They populate our movie screens and creep nightly into our televisions, into our very homes. They are everywhere, and to not be vigilant is to be careless, to be a bad citizen, and a bad parent. Is there any street a parent really wants their 6-year-old to cross alone? As statistically inaccurate as it may be, can we ever accept that the past was not better than the present, that the better future is slipping past us in the now? We become weary. If we lived somewhere else, another time, another place, we might accept our lot, with or without grace. We might labor throughout our lives without respite, for family, for community, for the greater good, or because we'd known no other way. But we are not somewhere else. We are here, and here is the first world, the developed nation of Canada, and we Canadians consider privilege to be rights, and we do not allow ourselves or our neighbors to neglect the responsibility of taking a break, a vacation. The dictionary defines vacation as freedom, release, or rest from some occupation, business, or activity. But people talk about it with desperation, like it, and only it, can satiate a hunger created by the deadening oppression of the routine that threatens the sanity of the individual. To go on vacation is to vacate, to leave a vacancy, an emptiness behind as you leave. So we flee the small city for the big city, the prairies for the coast, the plains for the mountains and the valleys, the farms for the forests. We escape the office or the store or the construction job that we tolerate only for the money, to go far away and spend that money, to have people who have even more dead-end jobs than ours smile at us and make us feel important and special or something else we are not. But what about if we are not tired of working? If we like what we do and would do it as a hobby if we weren't doing it for a profession? How does, say, an artist go on vacation? As differently as I think that I think, I still follow the same ideology of what a vacation is or should be. I still flee the centers that give me my inspiration and head for the different places. However, I refuse to really take a break, denying the rest that is the part of the vacation that I need. I drive to valleys or mountains or lakes or forests and bring with me my cameras and create a dual expectation of myself. Having spent the money, I am economically honor-bound to utilize the vacation spot for swimming or hiking or sightseeing, but I continue to work full-time making new work. Relaxation will wait. And so here I come, north past the city of Prince Albert into the Prince Albert National Park and the resort called Waskesiu. Why Waskesiu? This is not a regular getaway for me, not that I really ever had one, but at one point as a child, it was a destination we returned to as a family multiple times. I have only 4 memories of these vacations, and I am not even certain if they all come from the same trip or from some multiple ventures. These memories are as follows. 1. My little sister and I had chicken pox and could not go swimming for the entire trip. 2. We fed foxes right out of our hands. 3. We stayed in a little cabin. I was playing alone 20 to 30 feet outside of the cabin when a bear ran past me. I froze until it was gone, then freaked out and ran inside. 4. I had a dream while we stayed in the cabin. I must have been 6 or 7 years old. My dad's office was in an old building in the downtown Regina, and in my dream, an inter-office door in his office, which had always been blocked by a filing cabinet in real life, was now open. Through the door was a man I did not trust. Suddenly, we were in the car, my mom and my dad, but perhaps not my sisters, and my dad had patches on the knees of his pants, and my mom was driving. Inexplicably, this was the most frightening and most memorable dream of my entire life. Why did I have it in Waskesiu? Why did I return here almost 40 years later? Am I here to escape the city, to hike in the forest and swim in the lake? Hauling Super 8 and 16mm cameras, intervalometers, still and video cameras with me, I have had neither time nor inclination for these activities. Am I then here to explore some nostalgic part of my childhood? Well, we're not staying in the cabin since the retro attraction of them resulted in solid bookings a year in advance. The animals can no longer be fed, and my 6-year-old son has already had a chicken pox. Is that dream my nostalgic pilgrimage? A dream I never understood, but have remained too shaken by to ever consider depicting it in any of my work? Am I ready to face the fear that perhaps my parents were fallible, even weak? Am I trying to convince my son of the same thing? To admit to him that I might not always be there? No, I'm not ready. Not for that. Not yet. Perhaps not ever. No, and thus I am left only with my perpetually conflicted feelings about vacation. I don't enjoy the sun, the lake, the trees, the drive, or the expanse. I think it would be a good experience for my son, like foul-tasting medicine, since all he'd like to do while here is to play Lego and watch DVDs on the laptop. I share these feelings, but insist that I'm not here to enjoy myself. I'm here to vacation. I will find time to relax in front of my TV, in my small home, in my small neighborhood, in my small city, and reset when this dream is over.